like.
Yep, if you want to go ahead and get started, Steve.
Awesome. Well, before I say anything else, I want to say a big thank you to Amber Schuler over here, who puts this orientation together, and we've been rolling with this program for almost a year now, which is really awesome. So, you know, every cohort keeps getting better, and we as a team keep doing this better, and really excited you all are here. So on behalf of the CWCT team, welcome. We really appreciate that you've taken the time out of your evening this evening just to be here with us, learn a little bit more about the program, but also glad that you chose us as a consortium of institutions to actually fine tune some cybersecurity skills. We really believe in our program here. If you don't know, we're funded through a National Center of Academic Excellence grant. So it's federal grant money that helps to cover the cost of this program, and the certificates, the instructors, the tuition, our virtual labs, everything. You know, we really believe in that. We believe in our service to our first responders, our military, and all of our adult learners that take part in this program. And I really mean that. I mean, we're here to help. So as you're learning all sorts of stuff tonight about how to log into your classes, about the instructors, about the different pathways, we've got a couple guest speakers. Just know that all of us, myself and my colleagues, are here to answer your questions and to try and make this the best experience we can for you. Our measure of success is that you're enjoying the program, you're actually getting better at your cybersecurity skills, you're passing your certification exams, and then you're either upskilling in your current job or you're finding gainful employment elsewhere. That matters to us, and whatever we can do to help that, we want to be able to do that. So I'm going to go through our agenda for this evening. And on this slide, you see the 4 universities that make up this program: Purdue, UNC Charlotte, Purdue Northwest, UNC Charlotte, Ivy Tech, and University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. So right now is my little intro section. I should be able to catch up on our time here and be done, and we'll keep rolling on time. We're going to go through a program overview. Chrissy Duncan, who many of you have already talked to, you've probably already talked to Amber as well. She's on vacation this week. She planned a long time ago, so she hasn't missed an orientation yet, but thankfully she's a star, and she does a really great run through of a lot of our program in terms of certifications, and then also how to access your My Ivy account, which we'll get into later. But we've got a few pre-recorded videos that will then be available later as well that Amber's going to pull up, and we're going to be able to, you're going to see a lot more about the program in that sense. Then we'll talk a little bit about other resources. Professor Cloud and Edwina are going to be able to talk there. Then we'll have most, if not all, of our faculty that are going to be here this evening that should be able to introduce themselves and say hi, say kind of what, you know, makes them excited about this program, how they came to their role briefly. And then this is a really important one. I'm not saying this is the most important, but in about an hour, we're going to go through the video on how to access your Ivylearn and your My Ivy account and your Zoom access. It's super important. Again, we will have that transcript for you later, but if you don't know how to get into that, then nothing else is going to work out, right? So again, we are here to answer questions about how to access your My Ivy account, but super important. Then we're going to go through the tracks, our PIs. Our faculty that are part of this grant at each of our partner institutions are going to take a second just to talk about what their track kind of is. And when I say their track, we have the 3 tracks. You know, we have digital forensics, systems administration, and AI, but we all kind of have our own take on what that means and why it's important and where it could lead to in terms of employment. And then we've got a special guest tonight, Michael Young from Bank of America, who's going to talk about cybersecurity jobs in government. He's currently the SVP for Global Information Security at Bank of America. And then we're going to wrap up and get out of here. We're going to try and be conscious of time tonight. Again, I just want to reiterate, if you have questions, please put them in the chat while we're talking this evening. There may be opportunity to take it off mute and ask a question, but if you have something, we're going to do our best job to answer it in the chat. And also, before this is over, I will put my LinkedIn URL and my email in here. Feel free to ask me anything that you may need about this program, and know that you probably have, and this is my last thing, you probably have a invite from in your email already for a different orientation. And just so you know, that one's not like as mandatory as this one is by any means, but each of us at UNC Charlotte, UTC, and Purdue and Ivy Tech, we like to do a kind of a smaller orientation for students that we're assigned to as program managers. So know that there will be an opportunity after this to answer kind of those questions that are really biting you. I'm 1 minute ahead, it looks like. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Amber, and she's got a video from Chrissy. But again, thank you all so much for continuing your education. Thank you so much for many of you, your service, and thank you for considering the CWCT program. We want you to be successful. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks, Steve. So we're going to go ahead and play that intro video from Chrissy right now.
This is Chrissy Duncan, Program Manager for Ivy Tech Community College with the CWCT program. Sorry I couldn't be with you this evening. I have recorded this to give you an overview of the CWCT program and hopefully answer any questions you might still have about the program. A copy of the slides I will be using will be emailed to you by Amber Schuler by the end of this week, as I know some of the writing might be a little small on some of your screens, as well as so you have any of the links that are included in any of the slides. So this will be coming to you, so just sit tight until Amber gets the recording and this information out to you later this week. If you do have questions, please feel free to put them in the chat, and hopefully another CWCT staff member can answer it for you when this recording is over. So let me go ahead and get started. I am going to stop sharing my video because I will be sharing some slides and you don't necessarily need to be seeing me. So let me share my screen. Okay, so the CWCT program is a consortium of 4 different universities, and each of you are assigned to a program manager within one of those 4 universities. So the 4 universities are Purdue Northwest, Ivy Tech Community College, University of North Carolina, Charlotte, and University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. So if you get emails from one of those 4 institutions, it is coming from the CWCT program because it is a consortium. You were given the name and contact information for your program manager in the original email that was sent by me to set up your My Ivy account. That would have been the very first of many emails you got from me when you first applied, and that would have gone to your personal email because you would not have had set up your My Ivy account yet. All right, so the brief overview of the program. So with the CWCT program, we do offer 3 training paths. These 3 training paths, and you chose one of them when you were admitted. These 3 training paths are artificial intelligence, digital forensics, and system administration. Within each path, there are 6 non-credit college level courses per training path. These courses are offered through live virtual lectures. They will be 6 hours per week. They tend to be 2 days a week, 3 hours each. The lectures are recorded for participants who cannot attend live. We know we have participants from all over the US as well as all over the world. So we know there can be time zone issues. We have first responders and law enforcement that worked weird shift work. So if you cannot attend the live virtual lecture, then you will be able to watch the recording. There are no in-person offerings for this program. Everything is done virtually. Because it is that consortium of 4 different universities, we don't have anything on any of the campuses. Everything is done virtually. Each session is going to be 8 weeks long. Participants will typically take 1 to 2 courses per session. And I will talk about on the next slide, typically what affects how many courses you take. So again, each session is going to be 8 weeks of instructional period, and then you will typically have a 2-week break before the next session begins. The only oddity for that is in December between our October and January sessions when we have the December holidays, the break's a little bit longer. Each of your courses may lead to an industry recognized certification, such as CompTIA A+, CompTIA Security Plus, CyberOps, certifications like that. Typically, of your 6 courses, there will typically be 5 or possibly even 6 of the courses that will lead to one of these industry recognized certifications. Now, the grant will only cover test fees for 3 certifications. So you may choose not to do any certifications above 3. You may choose to pay for any certification above the 3 out of your own pocket. A lot of the times there is a student discount that you can use using your Ivy Tech information. The information about the certifications will be sent to you at the end of each course once we have verified that you have passed the course. So that information will come to you at the end of your courses. So we cover 3 certifications. Once you are complete with all 6 of your courses, and I will talk here also in a second about what happens when you might already have one of these certifications. But once you're done with all 6 courses or have some of the certifications already, you will be awarded a certificate of completion with all of the required coursework listed. The certificate of completion will have the 4 consortium institutions listed on it, as well as the National Centers for Academic Excellence, which is what this grant is through. There may be an opportunity to take these non-credit courses and move them into 4-credit courses, possibly at the 4 consortium universities, institutions. Each of the 4 institutions is working on a crosswalk currently. If you go to somewhere besides the 4 consortium institutions, you will have to talk to that institution whether they would take any of our non-credit coursework, or they might do the crosswalk for the certifications themselves. So that it could be an opportunity for you. So as I mentioned before, with the 3 pathways, you are admitted only under one of the 3 tracks. You were either admitted under system admin, artificial intelligence, or digital forensics. You must complete all 6 courses within your track that are required. This is not a pick and choose which courses you want. You can't take some courses from system admin, some courses from digital forensics, some courses for AI. When you get your registration emails, it will have a copy of the coursework that is required. You must complete those 6 courses. Now, if you already have one of the certifications, I think our biggest one is a lot of you might already have CompTIA Security Plus, or even CompTIA A+ are the 2 most popular. As long as that certification is active and not expired, you will not have to take that corresponding course. You will get a waiver for it. We do have to have a copy of the certification on file. Typically in your registration emails, if you say you already have it, that particular certification, and we don't have it on file, we'll send you the link to upload that too. You will not have to replace it with another course because it's a direct one-to-one waiver. Now, the biggest question we almost always get is, can you take your 6 courses required for your track, as well as maybe some additional coursework above the 6 that might come out of those other tracks? Now, I need everybody to listen very carefully, because even though I'm going to talk about this right now, it's going to be asked in the chat, even though I'm addressing it. So please, please pay attention. So, can you take courses outside of your track? The answer is maybe. We cannot give you a definite answer on that. If there is room in the course after everybody who needs it for their particular track is registered, if there is still room available, then we might be able to offer you that additional course. if you are ever eligible to take an extra course. This typically happens when you maybe already have one of the certifications, so you don't have to take that, that particular course or something like that. If you are eligible for an additional course, that information will be provided to you in your registration emails you get, and there will be a form you will fill out with which additional courses you are interested in taking. And then typically the week before classes start is when we can determine if there is room and when you will be notified. So for extra courses, you will typically not be notified if you can be put into them until the week before classes start. So can you take additional courses? Maybe, if there is room. Can you do additional tracks once you have finished your track? Again, we can't guarantee that. A lot of the times that might happen accidentally because you've taken some extra courses when they're available, and it just so happens those extra courses allow you to earn that second track. So the answer is just maybe. We never know, and it changes semester to semester or session to session. So can you take extra courses, extra tracks? That is to be determined at a later time before each session. So let's talk about participation in this program. Participation is extremely important for this program. Student participation is required for this grant program. How you demonstrate participation is by completing your quizzes, labs, and homework each week for your assigned classes. This is not a go at your own pace, wait until 2 weeks before the session ends and do all the work. There's too much to do that. So you are expected to submit assignments each week. You have due dates each week, okay? If you are not submitting assignments each week, you could be removed from that course for not completing your weekly work. So you do not want to get dropped for non-participation by not doing your work. You also need to make sure you're either attending the live lectures or watching the recordings if you cannot attend the live lectures. If you cannot attend the live lectures, you want to make sure you let your instructors know. So make sure you're doing those lectures. More importantly, you need to make sure you're doing your assignments so you don't get dropped for non-participation. Whoops, sorry, I moved on too fast. And now I'm going the wrong way. Give me 1 second. Okay, this is what I mentioned before, the time commitment for this program. Yes, you have 6 hours of lecture a week, but then you also have time you need to set aside for homework, assignments, lab work, things like that. We typically recommend setting aside 2 to 3 hours for each hour you are in your lecture. So if you are in one class, that could be a potential of 12 to 18 hours of just your homework lab work. Take that 12 to 18 hours, add it to your 6 hours. That is almost 20 to 20, or it's over 20 hours of work or time you need to set aside for just one class. So if you are in 2 classes, it is like a full-time job. You will have approximately 30, high 30s to 40 hours of work between lectures and your lab work. So please, it is important that you do not overcommit yourself and take more classes than you can manage with your other commitments, work, family, military duties, things like that. If you have registered for 2 classes and after hearing this, even though you were informed of this in several different emails prior to this orientation, if you think you need to drop down to 1 class, please send an email to Amber Schuler or myself and we can get that processed. Okay, this is just a reminder of the training schedule. So as I mentioned, participants will take 1 to 2 courses per session, and there are 6 courses. Please note, we only have 6 sessions left of this program total. And then the grant ends. So if you're only taking 1 course at a time, you're going to need to make sure you pass those courses, and you cannot take any sessions off if you want to continue with just 1 course at a time. If you fail classes or if you need to take sessions off, just note that you might be required to take 2 courses in your later sessions in order to finish the program in time. Okay, so what is covered under this grant as far as costs and support? You got free online English, math, and IT assessments during your application process. This included the assessments themselves. If you had to do the study paths, if you had to do any of the training modules and the IT assessment, or if you utilized any of the free virtual tutoring, that was all covered and available if the minimum scores could not be met. Again, we cover up to the testing fees for up to 3 certifications. If and that's only the testing fees. So if there are additional proctoring fees or other fees charged by the testing sites themselves, those would not be covered by this. This only covers the test. So it pays for up to 3 certifications. And I already mentioned what you could do if you want to get any of the additional certifications on top of the 3, either not take them or pay for them out of your own pocket. We do not require you to pass the certification to move on in the coursework. We only require you to pass the courses themselves. You get your courses with live virtual faculty instruction, again, with the recorded lectures for later viewing. You have access to cybersecurity support analysts through this program. These support analysts can provide tutoring, they can provide technical support, and they can provide virtual machine development and maintenance. That's all covered under this. Finally, online books and materials are covered under this, if there is even an online book and material. If there are hard copies available and you want a hard copy of the books and materials, you would be responsible for, number 1, finding those on your own as well as paying for them. But the online books and materials are covered. Finally, and the link for this would have been included in several emails through your application process. We do have self-preparation for your training path. That is, if you just go to CWCT.us and go to the training schedule, it's towards the bottom. We highly recommend that if you want to prepare at all for some of your courses, that you go in and do some of these self-preparation. Especially if you are going to be taking Linux, you need to go into the section for both the cloud system admin and forensic learning path. It's the 3rd from the bottom. If you click on the little plus sign next to that, there's a Linux unhatched. We highly recommend you go in and do that. So that is it for this presentation. If you have any questions, hopefully you put them in the chat and a CWCT member can answer them. I will be back later on with another video to talk about your My Ivy and Ivylearn and how to actually do the classes. You all have a great rest of the night and good luck in your future future session. Thanks.
Awesome. All right. So hopefully you got all of that information from Chrissy. As she mentioned, we have this recorded and we'll post this later in the week on YouTube. So all of that information will be available to you. And then I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Oh. Oh, Spiros, I think you're sharing. Oh, okay, go ahead.
Amber, can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead, Matthew. Great.
So I wanted to touch a couple things on this chat going on. First of all, I'm the associate director for the grant, one of the principal investigators based out of Ivy Tech Community College, at least for the purpose of this grant. And part of my role is to help support the instructors in particular, developing new instructors and the support system behind what supports you as students. So we have Edwina Aponte, who I believe is here tonight. Edwina, can you say hello real quick?
Hello.
Okay. So you can reach Edwina and her staff. I believe you just made the recommendation to hire 2 more people working for you today, correct?
I sure did, and I'm hoping to hear from them by the end of the week.
Great. So we have Edwina, who is working full-time, and then she has 2 support staff working for her, sometimes 3, sometimes 4. of part-time students and or former students that are there to help you as that front line as you have questions about different courses. They have gone through many of these courses. Some of them have graduate assistants working with them because some of the coursework doesn't really exist at any college yet. So, and Bard, to your question as to any of these courses as they are right now, are they for college credit? These are non-credit courses, but that doesn't mean it couldn't count for college credit. So for instance, at Ivy Tech, we proposed a crosswalk because several of the courses, the earlier courses are very similar or exactly like the courses that are offered at Ivy Tech, like the Security Plus, the Cyber Ops, the IT Essentials A+ course. Those courses should be fairly easy to transfer through. The Python course is very similar as well. Where I'm a full-time faculty member at Holy Cross. I've already started this with students that are former military coming to Holy Cross College. And there it's a much easier process at a private college. A public college is a more elaborate process to get courses to count for credit. Purdue Northwest is also in that I believe has already got that approved through their department chair. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Michael. And Amber, they have their department chair is able to accept those courses in. And so there may not be a course in a catalog for each one of these courses yet, because part of what we're doing here is teaching courses that are very much needed by the federal government. They've asked us to look into even deeper methods that we haven't quite put into here yet, including like quantum computing. It may be a while yet. There's some things that are difficult to get into this level of a certificate program. But so the idea here is some of these courses may count as special topics that would still count towards a degree as electives towards a degree, or sometimes in many cases, these courses will count for the required courses. For Holy Cross, depending upon which track you're in, all of them might count for required courses. Some of them might count as electives, depending upon the track. At Purdue Northwest, all of them count, I believe, towards the CIT path. I know it's different depending upon which degree program you go into as well. So that's more to talk about with your particular college that you have interest in going into. And it's not just the 4 colleges here and Holy Cross that I mentioned, but if you have other colleges that you're already at, I'm happy to help work with those administrators or faculty to help understand what's in the courses to help you get that credit. That's part of my role, as well as developing those industry and academic partnerships. So as you have those questions, you can reach out to me. I'll put my email in here. It's mcloud3@ivytech.edu. You can reach me there. If you have questions about support issues, I don't know if I put that in there already. I don't think so. That's CWCT-support@ivytech.edu. That will go to Edwina and her staff. I also check a look at it as well when they need an extra hand. And so let me see, were there other questions about that for certifications? I saw one directed at me. Okay. Yes, and so we're working on those formal pathways. We've only finally offered the later courses, and this program has only been offering courses for a year. So it's only been the past 2 terms that we've offered all of the courses. So part of that is saying, yes, this is solidly what we are going to offer so that they can get that credit. And we're starting on that process now to make that easier for students to get credit for it. Yes, and you can get credit for your military service for the different trainings you did there. Again, that's all going to be dependent upon the college you go to, but I'm happy to help look at that as well, because I've in the role with Ivy Tech, I helped do that for 7 years. Part of what we did was do that crosswalk for the military, which is a little bit more difficult, again, at a large statewide institution, but easier to get shorter. So the other things that I wanted to share with you, primarily I'll show when we talk about the Linux system admin, the cloud system admin track. I'll show some of the stuff in there that we use within the course. But if you got any questions, let me know. We are going to be looking at making sure that you have done an assignment in the first week. If you have not, we may drop you from the course. We'll reach out to you to make sure that something didn't get miscommunicated, didn't know how to find the Zoom, etc. Make sure your instructor knows who you are in some way. And We will also check every 2 weeks. So we'll go through and we make sure that you have been keeping up with the course. And if something doesn't, it's okay, right? Just reach out to us. If you don't reach out to us, we'll drop you from the course. If we drop you from all your courses, you may get dropped from the program. We haven't really done that yet, but we do understand things come up. We have people that get have to be sent overseas. All sorts of things come up, and we can adjust. The nice thing is, because it's not for credit, it doesn't hurt any sort of GPA. These are all pass-fail, right? We want you to have the knowledge so you can go in and choose the certifications that you believe will help you best in your career, and we will cover the cost of up to 3 of those certifications. We do have test prep materials for that, and we have some prep materials for the courses you can find on the site as well, and your program managers can help you with that. Any other questions for me right now? Well, I am very glad you're here, and I can't tell you how excited I am that we've been able to keep this like almost at 70% of just military. We tried to get that with military and first responders. We're about 68, 69% military, and other 7-8% that are law enforcement. So it's been a real joy doing this the past year, and we look to see how we might expand it in the years to come. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Matthew. Appreciate that. So now we're going to move on to our instructors, and I'm sure most of you are excited to meet your instructors and hear how they're going to be structuring their courses. And some of the very first classes that most of you will be jumping into is your A+ course. So I'm going to start off by introducing the instructors who teach A+. Let's go ahead. Let's start with Alma. She teaches our Tuesday, Thursday night 6 to 9 class. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to her and let her talk about her course.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Alma Scott, and I teach the A+ course. I am very excited about this program. My own career, a consortium of business and other organizations got together. I took training, and it changed my life, changed my family's life. So I'm very excited for you all with the cybersecurity. This is my 3rd class, and I'm learning a lot from the students. Students are typically, you're going through a full day, and the class comes in the evening, and I make good use of your time. Understand that you might have had a long, strenuous day, but really work hard to pass that information along to you. Keep in touch with you, a lot of communication, allow you a chance to talk to each other. And again, I'm really looking forward to this next class and working with you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Alma. Let's go ahead. Let's jump to one of our Monday and Wednesday night instructors, Valerie.
Hi, everyone. I am so glad to see all of you in the program. This is an awesome program and an awesome opportunity like none ever before, truly. And as Alma said, this has the opportunity to not only change your life, but your family's lives. And I'm really excited for each of you. I do teach the A+ class. This summer, I'll be teaching Monday and Wednesday evenings. And I will let you know before you jump in that I want participation. So it's not a class that you can come to and sit quietly behind the scenes. So just be prepared. I don't want to put you on the spot or anything, but we are doing a lot of collaborative learning where I'll go through something and then we'll go through vocabulary or questions or labs to see where you all are. And I don't want the answers just from one student. I want them from everyone because I want to make sure that I'm including everyone in the process. So just a heads up, I thought I might need to do that. I haven't done that before, and I think it will make a difference now that you know in advance.
Wonderful.
Thank
Valerie,
you.
then they had some questions too. How much interaction should they expect between students? They said that they had previous college courses where they were mostly assigned group projects. So what can they expect with you?
So your assignments that we do in class will be group projects, but the assignments that we do outside of class will not be group. You really need to do these assignments to get the skill set down that you need to accomplish by the end of the class. So it's a little different than a normal college class in that I'm really teaching you skill sets to take with you into your IT career.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And then we
welcome.
also have another Monday, Wednesday evening instructor, Constance. So some of you may have been assigned in Constance's class. Unfortunately, she couldn't join us this evening. So don't panic if you don't see Valerie on your schedule, you see Constance. It's correct. We just have 2 instructors for that evening. So thanks so much, Valerie. And then for Saturday and Sunday students, we have Enrique as our teacher, and I'm going to let him introduce himself.
Hello there. My name is Enrique Catalan, and I'm going to be teaching the County A+ class during the weekends. So, and weekend mornings, by the way. I know most of you guys are going to be tired. It's my second class teaching in this program, and I'm very excited, guys, to be your professor for this class. And like Valerie said, I will expect participation from everyone. I usually do my presentations, and I kind of randomly do some questions around, to make sure that you are awake, and make sure you have a cup of coffee, make sure you're ready to learn. I'm here to support you, and I wish you the best.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And kind of going off of that Saturday and Sunday, so you might have Enrique in the morning, and then you might have your Linux teacher in the afternoon. And we have Bill Warden teaching our Saturday, Sunday Linux class, and I'm going to let Bill introduce himself.
Good evening, everybody. Can everybody hear me all right? All right. Just making sure. Can't tell. There we go. Yes. Okay. My name is Bill Warden. This will be my 4th session teaching the Intro to Linux class, CWCT 116. We've come a long way in understanding exactly how students need to get through a lot of material that isn't necessarily challenging in and of itself, but the volume of it and the amount of time that it takes for us to get through what we need to get through. The good news is I can confidently say now that I've had a number of students successfully do so, and I know where students tend to struggle. So what we tend to focus on is working on the labs, getting everything done in the hours that we have time to cover everything that you would need to do for your class for that week, and go a little bit beyond just what is ABCD kind of IT instruction, which we fall into in IT all the time. And that is just to discuss how to do this, 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 and this without why you're doing it. So I try to focus on that while I'm doing the ABCD, how you get from here to here with your Linux system, but at the same time putting into perspective why things work that way, or even sometimes why they shouldn't work that way, but they do. I try to get as much as I can into what the point of what we're doing is, because a good operating system shouldn't be something you have to think about. But most often, operating system specialists are people who think about them way too much because of all the ways that they can go wrong and screw things up for everybody. So it's a very important foundational course that's a little bit more complex than just your basics. But at the same time, it is that basic foundational knowledge that will, without question, be the foundation of your success in your IT career following this class, I believe. I don't know what else was I supposed to talk about. Anything? Did I cover everything?
I think, yeah, I don't see any questions in chat at all, so I think you're good.
All right. Well, it'll be more than just me thinking I'm good. There we go.
and with that Linux
yes, you are,
course,
Bill.
with that Linux course, we actually have 2 Bills. We've got the Bill team. And so if you have Monday, Wednesday evening course, you're going to have Bill McGilligary. Did I say it right this time, Bill?
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, welcome everyone to the program. Yeah, like Bill, kind of echo what Bill said. We've been in the program for 4 years, 4 sessions now, and I think we've we finally figured it out. The first few sessions were kind of beta or alpha sessions, so trying to figure out how to get this program off the ground. So it's not perfect, but we continue to perfect it every session. So so definitely want to welcome everyone to the program. I guess on top of what Bill said, from a time management perspective, I definitely understand what everyone's feeling. I teach full-time I work full-time at Microsoft as a cybersecurity specialist there. And I'm teaching here at Ivy Tech as part of this program. I'm working on my PhD in cybersecurity. I have a couple different cryptocurrency projects I'm working on, so have definitely quite a bit of different projects working on. So I definitely understand everyone's time management. It's tough to do. There's a lot going on, but it can be done, and it's definitely worthwhile just focusing in and take some of that time away where you can. I know it can be challenging, but definitely it'll be worth it in the long run. And there's something else I was gonna say and then I forgot. But outside of that, welcome everyone to the program, and thank you again.
Wonderful. And in addition to the Bill team, we have Herman, who is teaching our Tuesday, Thursday night Linux class. So I'm going to let Herman introduce himself.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. I don't know what else to say besides what Bill and Bill said. So, but I will say, if you can, try to do the Linux Unhatched before you start class. It will go a long, long way to helping you through this, especially if you've never, ever touched Linux before. It will really, really help. So, I mean, if you got the time, I would say do that. Other than that, enjoy it. Have fun.
We do have a question in chat for Herman, and maybe one of the Bills want to chime in. Any recommendations for Linux book to use to start reading ahead of time?
All right, I'm taking this one because Herman, I'm about to crack you up. You and I both know we've been in Linux long enough. There was a time, literally the first time I started Linux, I printed off the instructions from somebody I was talking with online and then proceeded to load Linux, only to think, oh, this is DOS, and then just shut it down. The funniest part about Linux is how many people I've talked to, they just didn't stop. They got into Linux and they couldn't stop. Getting resources to learn more about Linux used to be an unending quest. Now, the internet has solved it. There are so many resources. The best thing all the three of us can do for you, I guarantee this, is help you curate the good from the bad. Either publishers we like, resources we've identified. It is impossible to say there is one source for Linux. It's just insane. It's just impossible to do. But with that, I'll leave it to Bill and Herman.
No, I would agree with that. And I kind of remember what I was going to say now too. Everyone's kind of wondering, why are we taking Linux in a cybersecurity, path too? It's like, well, Linux is the foundation of pretty much everything, whether it's artificial intelligence, digital forensics, system administration. Linux is that foundation operating system you're working off of. So, the AI models, digital forensics, all the tools run off Linux programs, as well as, system administration can be managing those systems. And then even as cyber forensics or cybersecurity side, many of the tools, so whether you do penetration testing, ethical hacking, all the tools are basically Linux based. So knowing how to work on a Linux operating system is essential. So, but go ahead, Herman.
Oh, no, I couldn't agree more with everything that's been said so far. So it's I don't know, it's fun, and let's, we'll do the best we can.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Team Linux. And then we have our
just
sole...
one quick thing I did
yeah.
want to add to that. I know this is very important. I will say this. For those of you who are like, well, why aren't we doing this Linux or that Linux? The Red Hat Linux curriculum was developed by the only real brand name Linux company who only specializes in providing that support for a major operating system that they happen to also brand, if you will. So having that focus in the way we're doing Red Hat here is actually a benefit. It is not a restriction, even though it feels like it because we're only learning one type of Linux. Trust us. This is going to be helpful. That's it.
Thanks, Phil. All right, so then we have one instructor for Python. So for those of you on the AI track taking Python, I'm going to let Chris introduce himself.
Okay, greetings. I have to remember to unmute myself. I think those are the two things that favorite phrases for COVID is you're on mute or you're not on mute. My name is Chris Roberts. I'm a department chair for Ivy Tech here in Fort Wayne. I've got basically 30 plus years of industry experience in computer systems engineering. I am prior Navy. I am teaching the Linux course. We meet on Tuesday and Thursday evenings. Primarily Tuesday evening is the lecture, the course walkthroughs, the demonstrations. Thursday is the interactive labs. We do group lab assignments on Thursdays. We take you through the Net Academy course content, and that leads up to a possible certifications in Python programming.
All right, any questions for Chris? I'm not seeing anything in chat. All right, well, if you have any questions for Chris, go ahead and throw it in chat. Then we'll move on to our cyber ops instructors. So for some of you who may have already had some advanced certifications or you have your A+ done, you might be moving on a little bit ahead of other people. So cyber ops instructors, Lance, I think I saw you come in. Would you like to talk about your course and introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm really excited to start my second module of cyber ops. I just finished my first one. I had a great time teaching it. The material is really good. I will say that it's very, very comprehensive. About 28-ish modules that we'll go through in like 6 weeks or 8 weeks. It's really interesting. It's really interesting stuff. So I'm excited to start my Tuesday, Thursday, 6 to 9 p.m. In a couple of weeks. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Okay, so we've got another instructor on Tuesday, Thursday night. So Lance is teaching one section of cyber ops, and then the other Tuesday, Thursday night section is with Spiros. Spiros, do you want to introduce yourself?
Good evening, everybody. Hello, Bill Warden out there. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to the ones that they have served the nation. So it is our turn to serve them. And I'm here basically to serve the people that they're taking the cyber ops and extend a very friendly and a very professional welcome to the people that they have served the country. Second, I want to say thank you to Edwina Ponte, that has been a great deal of help, not only to me, but basically to the other students as well. And she was always there to give her hand every time that there was, that her services were required. I saw some questions about the packet tracer. We're going to have some packet tracer labs in CyberOps. And every time that I teach CyberOps, I'm taking this a level higher than what has been presented in the modules. So this time we're going to start a table exercise, which is going to start in the very first week. That table exercise has to do, I will present to you a network, a topology. And as we're going through the course, you will be coming aboard and you're going to say, okay, how I can connect better, let's say my computer to a router, and how can I increase my perimeter defense? Because the overall goal we try to do here is we try basically to safeguard our network. And topology is number one. Architecture is the most important thing. The second most important thing in safeguarding our network is routers. So we'll be paying special attention not only to these two items, but also anything that has to do with firewalls, with DMZs, and also with depth in defense. I'm using a lot of material that is outside of what is the curriculum, and that's because of CyberOps has gone to a next level higher than cybersecurity, if I say so. And it basically encompasses the new era that we are facing, and that is basically the era of cyber warfare, because that's where we are right now. We have gone above and beyond. Not that it is not important, of course, the cyber attacks that we're getting from hackers, but basically now we're talking about a higher level that cyber warfare is. It is a big staple in the cyber attacks and the cybersecurity issues that we're facing out there. So we will be having a very exciting session. I guarantee you that if you want to see excitement, you're in the right place. Guarantee you that. And also another thing that I very much I'm looking forward to is exchange with the students. I don't like to just be sitting behind the desk, so to speak, and just be talking, but I would like very much conversation, and you are going to have plenty of opportunity of doing so. Also, the last one, a big really thank you to the people that they teach Linux. I very, very strongly recommend to everybody that is going to be involved in cybersecurity operations to get Linux and also to be very much familiar with Python. Okay, so that's all that I had. Good luck to everybody. And I'm looking forward to see you Tuesdays and Thursdays, 6 to 9. Okay, and forget about anything else because I'm going to take your time. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Vero. And then
Hey, Bill.
for Mondays and Wednesdays, so Wednesday evenings, we have Joe who is teaching that section of CyberOps. So I'm going to let Joe go ahead and introduce himself.
Hi, my name is Joe Warden. I'm a full-time cybersecurity professor at Ivy Tech Community College. I teach at the Cyber Academy, and I absolutely love teaching the CyberOps program with CWCT program. I welcome y'all. We have a lot of fun doing it. We talk about all those things that were mentioned before. We also get into some Linux. We look at, like Spiros was saying, the cyber defense, and we have a really good time doing the 28 modules that Lance talked about. It's a fast-paced course, but we get in there and we have fun. I'm looking forward to it. We all get in it and we dig into cybersecurity, and hopefully you go away with it with the same kind of enthusiasm that I want to put into it on Mondays and Wednesdays. Welcome, and I hope to see you on June 6th.
Thanks so much, Joe. Appreciate that. And then for our Security Plus instructors, so we have 2 sections on Monday and Wednesday nights. Unfortunately, Rob wasn't able to join us. So if you have Rob, he sends his condolences. He's not able to be here, but Alf is new to us for the program, and I think I saw him pop in.
Yeah, hi everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, great. Glad to be with you. New to the program, but full-time Ivy Tech IT instructor, maybe going on 8 years or so. Excited to teach the Security Plus. If it's anything like the course we offer at Ivy Tech, lots to do. So like some of my colleagues here mentioned, we'll get hands-on in class, try to help with your time and all the busy commitments you guys have. Thank you. I want to echo what Spiros said. Thank you for your service and this next phase of service that you're going into, because I tell you, like someone else mentioned, or Spiros mentioned and others, the cyber warfare, it's really changed the landscape of the globe. So you want to be lifelong learners. This stuff changes a lot. I like what Alma said about the mutual learning that happens. There's too much to know. Anybody that says they know it all, they're lying. I mean, some of these old timers, they probably got a little bit of that, but there's just a lot to know. So there is mutual learning and exchange that happens. Like Valerie said, I'm going to expect lots of engagement. Just a little about myself. I'm engineer by degree, Illini, and did manufacturing and got into IT around Y2K, and after a lot of manufacturing was offshore. Fell in love with it then, and then shifted over to education. So I've got a master's in education to go along with an MBA in finance. But what what I've learned is the currency in IT really is about certifications. So it's great that there's an opportunity for you guys to get those. We talk a lot about the course being important, but the cert really being the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. So you definitely want to be prepared for those. And how are you going to do that? Read, read, read. I tell my students, I teach a lot of the NETI courses. If you don't read, you're going to fail. I cannot spoon feed it to you. There's just too much. So you're going to want to digest that yourself as well as much as you can. We'll talk. We'll have an engaging time in class, lots of activities to get your hands on and prepare you, okay, for those real life tools. But starting out, if you don't have the experience, the certs are the way to level the playing field. And so I'm excited you guys have an opportunity for that. I did have a question for some of the administrators, if there is any advice on the timing for taking the certification exams that students choose to take. So maybe you can speak to that a little bit later. But I've got the Cisco CCNA. I just got my AWS Cloud Solutions Architect certification, the S Plus, the Net Plus, Salesforce. I'm probably forgetting some others, but so my point though is I've got experience taking the exams, passing the exams, and so we want to share that with you as well. And glad to be a part of the program.
All right, does anybody want to answer that, or you want to talk about that during the?
That's kind of a repeated question that's getting asked in the chat anyways. So maybe take a quick break on that to say that, just to say it, not just type it. To take a certification, you have 3 certifications that we'll pay for, right? You have to choose which certifications you want us to pay for, and it's up to 3. You don't have to do 3. The certification prep materials, in addition to the course that you take, the courses that our wonderful instructors here are talking about are teaching you how to do the work. They're not teaching you how to pass an exam. That's not their intent. Their intent is for you to be able to do this in the workforce, working with industry providers, using materials from our industry partners like Cisco and Red Hat. So once you have passed that course at 60% or better, which I recommend you really passing it above 80% or better if you want to pursue that path for certification, you will then be given certification materials, which you have 8 weeks to use, up to 8 weeks. Once you pass that with 90% or better, then we'll provide the voucher to you for you to go take the exam. If you end up failing the exam, it does not hurt you in any way in this program whatsoever. Okay, we just only pay for up to 3.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for clearing that up, Matthew. And then let's go ahead and introduce one of we have 2 hacking instructors on this evening. Chuck, would you like to introduce yourself and your certified ethical hacking course?
Yeah, my name is Chuck DeCastro. My full-time job is actually with PMW, Purdue Northwest. Then last year I was given an opportunity to be able to teach for this grant program. In addition to the CEH, and my background is actually I'm a retired law enforcement officer. After my career was over, during my career, I got into computer forensics, and then that was my passion. And then computer forensics and ethical hacking kind of relates to one another. Then I got into computer security. Then I got my master's. I retired 8 years ago. I was a security engineer for Purdue first. And then in 2017, I started teaching at Purdue as faculty, and I'm doing that to today. That's my primary job. In addition to the CEH, I also teach the computer forensics course, not the CHFI, but the computer forensics course. And if it's needed, I will jump in and also teach the cyber ops. The CEH is it's a challenging certification, and I kind of address it. My classes start Tuesdays and Thursdays now, from 6 to 9 p.m. I believe, and it starts this June coming up. And I do like Matthew said, I do teach the content, but the strategy that I did, because I've been involved with DC Council since 2006. Since I teach for Purdue, also CEH, the ethical hacking in the fall, I do have access to the EC console stuff from their own website. And what I do, I kind of divide the class in two. Unfortunately, we only have 2 months to do it. I do teach the content, but towards the end, I kind of teach you how to pass the exam because with the EC console is a double-edged sword. One is learning the content and then strategies for the exam. And that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Awesome. Thanks, Chuck. So then the CEH course that Chuck teaches is part of our system admin track. And then for those of you in the digital forensics track, you're going to have the certified or the computer hacking forensic investigator course. And that's with John. And I know John was here, so I'm going to let him talk about his course.
Hi, everybody. My name's John Lawrence. Just like Chuck, I also work at a police department, Munster Police Department, as a civilian. I was hired in to do forensics for them. So as I teach the computer hacking forensics course, I not only do I want to teach you about the hardware and software of mobile devices and computers and everything like that, but I want to get you into that investigator mode. I want you to start looking at different tools that we work with Celebrite, with Oxygen, with ADF. These are different law enforcement software, so you can practice going through images. Besides, there is a lot of crossover with CEH. There's a lot of, there's Linux involved, there's Windows involved, there's Android systems involved. So any questions? Great.
Thanks, John.
Sure.
I know that some of you were curious about logging into your MyIvy, accessing your Zoom in MyIvy, all of that technical stuff that you need to know. And Chrissy also put together another video about how to access all of these platforms that you're going to need to use for your courses. And then I'm going to have Mike play Chrissy's recorded video again in a second.
Hey everyone, Chrissy again. In this recording, I'm going to discuss 2 big pieces of technology you will be using as a participant in this program. You've actually already used both of these pieces when you went through the application process to access your assessments, but I'm going to discuss more closely how they will relate to your participation in your courses. Because remember, in my previous video, I talked about how important your participation was. While this program is made up of the consortium of the 4 universities, as previously discussed, the Ivy Tech system is what you're actually going to be using to complete your courses and the program. So tonight we will be looking at MyIvy, which is your student portal, and we're going to be looking at Ivylearn, which is how you actually access your courses for your virtual lectures, some of your coursework, your syllabus, etc. So again, I'm going to turn off my video and share my screen so that I can walk you through this. Okay, so there will be let me share my screen. So there are several different ways to get to both MyIvy and Ivylearn. The first is through the main Ivy Tech website, which is just www.ivytech.edu. At the top of this page, you will see links for both MyIvy, which is right here in the middle. Let me make this bigger. So up here at the top is MyIvy, and then right next to it is Ivylearn. So that is one way that you can get to them. And you just click on it and log in. The other way is to go directly to MyIvy. So you can also get to MyIvy by going directly to the website. It's going to be myivy.edu. learn.ivytech.edu. And this is how you will also access Ivylearn. I recommend that you bookmark this page for easy access, as you will be able to access Ivylearn once you enter My Ivy. So you're going to need to log in to your My Ivy account. I have mine saved. You always need to make sure you're putting in your Ivy Tech email address when it asks for your email address. Almost always when people claim that they are having issues, that it's not allowing them to log in, it is because they are putting their personal email instead of your Ivy Tech email. So you need to log in. And just note that Ivy Tech does not keep records of your password. So if you've forgotten your password, on that main login page, there was a reset or forgot password link on that login page. If you are locked out of your account, the CWCT program cannot unlock your account. You would have to call the Ivy Tech help desk, which is 1-888-IVY line, LINE. They're available 7 days a week with extended hours above the typical business hours. So even if you're overseas, you should be able to reach them. Okay, so again, CWCT cannot unlock your Ivy Tech account. Okay, so your My Ivy portal will look slightly different than mine as far as which links are displayed, because you have a student view while mine is actually a mix between a student and a staff view, mostly staff view. But the concepts I'm about to discuss with you will be the same. So there are essentially two big pieces you want to become familiar with within My Ivy. A lot of links that you see may not even be applicable, since these courses are workforce training courses and are non-credit courses. For example, if you come across a link that says My Schedule, you will not see your schedule if you click on that, because non-credit courses do not show up on your schedule. That is why when you were registered, I sent you a confirmation email with the courses that you registered for. If you did not get that confirmation email, check your spam, promotions, check all your folders, because it probably went to one of those folders instead of your inbox. But that is why we send you your schedule, because there's no way to find it through your My Ivy since it's a non-credit course. So the two big pieces you will want to know are how to access Ivylearn and how to access your student email. As a participant, both of these should be listed in this middle quick links section. Again, it is not on mine because mine is mostly staff. Okay, so they should be listed in this quick links section. However, if you do not see them in your quick links section, you can either search for it up here by just typing My Ivy, and then you know, you can click on it here, or you can search Ivylearn, and you could click it here. So that's one way you could just search for it. Or if you click on See All in your quick links, these are listed in alphabetical order. You can go scroll down. Here's Ivylearn, and here is My Ivy. Student email is what the other one will come up under. Hold on. Here we go. Student email. Okay. So you need to look for Ivylearn and student email as your two. And then you can click on the little heart next to it to add it to your favorites, so that if they are not in your quick links, if you add the heart, then they will come up here in your My Favorites. I think the favorites only lists 5. But you can also click up here in the upper right where it says My Favorites if you have more than 5 things favorited. Okay. So those are the two big pieces you need to know in My Ivy. So due to student privacy laws, it's called FERPA, okay, Your Ivy Tech email should be the email you are using to communicate for this program. It has to deal with your student privacy. We need to make sure that it's actually you emailing us and requesting certain things to be processed. We cannot share your educational information with other people. So by sending it to your Ivy Tech email, it ensures that student privacy a little more. So it is important, please be checking your Ivy Tech email on a regular basis. I cannot stress that enough. That is how your registration will come to you. That is how important emails from your instructor should come to you. That's how important emails from your program managers will come to you. Be checking your Ivy Tech email. Occasionally we will send a courtesy email to your personal email, maybe saying, hey, check your Ivy Tech email, there's important information in there. However, we don't have to do that. We don't always do that. So be checking your Ivy Tech email, please, okay? Now, your Ivy Tech student email is run through Gmail, okay? So when you click on student email, it will take you to Gmail. Nope, it'd help if I spelled student right. I'm going to show you here. So student email. Okay, now mine is completely blank because as a staff member, mine is run through Outlook. But if you see, when you click on student email, it takes you to your Ivy Tech email address, which is run through Gmail. Now, what happens sometimes is if you have a personal Gmail account where you have your password already saved, when you click on that student email link, it may take you to your personal email account. Okay, instead of your student email. So if this happens, you'll either need to log out of your personal Gmail account and then log in with your Ivy Tech email, which is that Ivy Tech email address, same password. Or what I personally recommend is adding an account in Gmail so you can easily access both your personal and student emails. You can easily Google how to add an account in Gmail if you don't know how to do that already, because there might be a slightly different directions based on if you're using your mobile device, if you're using a computer, what browser you're using, all of that good stuff. So, so keep that in mind, please. Okay. And then that way too, by adding that account, you can go back and forth between your personal and your Ivy Tech email in your web browser or even in the Gmail app so that you can access your Ivy Tech email through the Gmail app on your phone. Now, the big piece I know you've all been waiting for. How exactly do you complete your virtual classes? How do I do this, Chrissy? Where do I go? What do I need to do? Okay. Again, your courses will be accessed through Ivylearn. So all you'll need to do is you'll just need to click on the Ivylearn. This one is in my quick links and it should be in your quick links as well. Or again, you can access it through that main Ivy Tech website. Or you can even just type in the direct email address, which is just ivylearn.ivytech.edu. So you can get to Ivylearn in 3 different ways. Okay, so I'm going to click on Ivylearn. So when you go into Ivylearn, on the left-hand side, you will notice, and one thing I want to talk about is this inbox menu item. Okay, this is not the same thing as your student email. Okay, this is more like a direct messaging platform so that you could directly message your instructor within the course itself, possibly even your fellow classmates within the course itself. This is directly linked to your actual coursework within Ivylearn. Okay. So if we say check your Ivy Tech email, you know, some people say I've never gotten a single message in my Ivy Tech email. It's because they're checking this inbox. Okay. So they're 2 different things. So please keep that in mind. Okay. You can set it up in your preferences, like under your account, where you can get in, like if you compose a message in the inbox, or if you get a message sent to you within the Ivylearn system, you would then get an email to your Ivy Tech email. Like you can't email your program managers through this inbox. You can't email Amber through this inbox because we are not associated with one of your classes. Okay. So, but if you go in and compose a message, you can, essentially you select whatever course you want to compose the message to. I haven't taken a course in a while. Let's say I go to here, and you can kind of see, you would click on the course and you'd say, okay, I need to email the teacher, and then the teacher's name would come up, and then you type it, and so on and so forth. But like if your program manager is Steve Olson, you would not be able to go in and just type in Steve Olson's email address. You'd have to do that through your Ivy Tech email. Okay, so that's a really important thing to keep in mind. Okay. All right, so your courses will either be listed on your dashboard, which is under this dashboard link, or you can get to them if you click on the courses link. Okay. So one important thing to mention is that the courses will not appear in either of these places until the Friday before the session begins. So the session begins on Monday, June 6th. The courses will not appear in Ivylearn here until Friday, June 3rd. Okay, and that is for all courses, regardless of if they start on a Monday, Tuesday, or a Saturday. It used to be that it would open 48 hours before the first lecture day. Depending on what day the lecture was, it opened 48 hours before that. They have changed that where they now all open on the same day, regardless of the start. So you're not even going to see your course listed until Friday, June 3rd. Okay. Now, if you get on here on Friday, June 3rd, so like if you go in there right now, you're not going to see your courses listed. You are still registered for them. You're just not going to see them listed. Now, if you go in here on Friday, June 3rd, and you still do not see it listed, it is probably because the instructor themselves has not published the course yet. Okay, so there's one way that you can look at this on your dashboard. If you simply scroll down, you can see it listed under unpublished courses. Okay, so this means, oh, hey, it's there. The instructor just hasn't published it yet. Please be patient. That probably means the instructor is making some final touches on it, and it will go live before your actual class session starts. Okay, so if you're not seeing it on Friday, June 3rd, see if it's listed under those unpublished courses on your dashboard. Or if you click on courses, if you go scroll down to where it says all courses, you can then see if it's published or not. And if it is not published, it will say, no, it's not published. Okay, so please check on that before you email us saying, I don't see my class. I'm not registered for classes, because most of the time it's simply that the class is not published yet. I verify all registration, 400 plus registrations before each session begins. So the chance of it being because you're not registered is going to be very slim. It's going to be because it's not published yet. Okay. Again, though, please be patient. It should be published before the start of your classwork. It might even be that day. So even if it's in the morning and it's still not published, please, again, just be patient until that instructor publishes it. Okay, so I'm going to use one of my past courses and as an example to show you what the course will actually look like. So I'm going to go in here to a Linux course I took way back in the fall of 2020. So it's been a while since I've taken it. Okay. So your course, now mine was a 4-credit course, but your non-credit course will look very, very similar to this. Okay. So on here, this was the course name. Now yours will probably, instead of a BI, yours will say TR, That does not mean it's a Tuesday, Thursday. That means it's a traditional class. It's the type of class that it is. Okay. Mine was a online / on campus one. I can't remember even what BI stands for now, but don't get confused if it's a Monday, Wednesday class and you see TR here. That does not stand for Tuesday, Thursday. That's just the type of class it is. Okay. So in the menu here on the left, you will see all the menu items. So you want to make sure you're reading your course announcements, which is under your announcements tab. You want to carefully read the syllabus under the syllabus tab. The modules tab is where you will go to look and see what do you need to be doing each week? You know, what do I need to do in week 1? What do I need to do in week 2? Now, many of these classes use external programs that you might not actually be doing the coursework in Ivylearn. We use a thing called NetAcad. We use a thing called NetLab. You might be using an actual Red Hat system to do your the Linux class. Getting access to those will be either the instructions on how to access those will either be in your announcements in your syllabus. They might be emailed to you. If you go in and let's say, hey, you have an account through Red Hat and you go in and try to make it and you're getting an error message, wait until your course starts before you make your account, because your instructor is going to tell you exactly what you need to do to access that account. Okay. I know a lot of you may be, you know, really excited to start. And so you want to get in there and get started early. A lot of the times you just need to play it cool and wait until your first class to do some of this stuff. Okay. But you would see like under week 1, you know, here's the agenda. Here were my assignments. Here's the PowerPoint. Yours may look different as far as what exactly is in there. Okay. Now there may be some coursework in here. Again, it's going to depend class to class. Okay. All right. So the big piece you need to know for your virtual classes is to not only how to access your live lecture via Zoom, but also the recorded Zoom lectures in case you cannot make it to the designated day and time. So to access your lectures, all you are simply going to do is click on this Zoom link right here. That's all you need to do. Okay. And then it will have the upcoming meetings. I, of course, don't have any because this class was back in 2020. So I don't have any upcoming meetings listed, but all your future course meetings should be listed with a link that you can click on to go into that lecture. Okay. There is also a tab for previous meetings. Again, because this was so long ago, I don't have anything in there anymore, but this should list all of the class sessions that have already happened. And there should be a way for you to view the recording on that page, as well as under cloud recordings. You will see here, here are all the cloud recordings of this class I took. And all you would simply do is figure out, okay, which one did I miss? Which one do I need to watch? Find that date, click on it, and you will have your recording. Okay, so this is where you will go to find your upcoming meetings, your previous meetings, as well as the cloud recordings. Okay, now if on the first day you go in here and there are not any Zoom pieces listed, there's not any Zoom meetings listed in there, it could be that it might be listed in the announcements. It could just be they haven't finalized that part yet, but many times the instructor will put the link in the announcements. It might be in your syllabus, so check your syllabus, or the instructor could have even emailed it to your Ivy Tech email. So if you don't see the links listed here, check the announcements, check the syllabus, check your Ivy Tech email. It could be in there for that first day of class. Okay. So just remember, you can go back and watch those recorded lectures. And then also remember that the program managers on your first day of class, if you're having issues accessing anything, please remember that your program managers and your support staff will more than likely not be available to assist you like at the time that the class happens, because it's out of normal business hours. Okay. So if you send us an email, you're probably not going to get a response until the next day. So the person you really need to contact is your instructor. Their contact information should be listed in the syllabus, or you can message them through that inbox, choose your class, choose that instructor, and message them. But they are typically going to be the ones that you have to contact if you're having issues getting in that first day. And then remember, if you do have issues getting in that first day, you can't reach somebody, remember that you can then always watch the recording the next day, even if you miss it. Okay. Final thing, Ivylearn is powered by a company called Canvas, C-A-N-V-A-S. Okay. There is a Canvas app that can be downloaded on your phone. You just have to put in your Ivy Tech is the institution, use your Ivy Tech, email address, those types of things. So this is really nice because it has a calendar that you should be able to see when assignments are due. It's probably not ideal for actually doing any coursework within it, but you can look at the modules, you can look at your syllabus, you can look at the calendar to see what's due. I believe you can your inbox is in there, so you can message your instructor. Those types of things is really good. That the app is really good for that. Okay. So yeah, you'll just need to use your Ivy Tech information to set up that app. Okay. Hopefully, if you had any questions, they were either answered, or again, if you put them in the chat, hopefully one of the other CWCT members can answer them for you. So again, have a good rest of the night. Enjoy the rest of your orientation. We look forward to working with you, and good luck with your upcoming session. Have a wonderful rest of the night.
All right, so what you've all been waiting for is to find out about these different tracks, the courses in the tracks, the certifications and careers that correspond with them. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Michael Tu, who's going to talk about the digital forensics track first.
If you're speaking, you're on mute.
Okay, sorry. Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for attending this orientation, and special thanks to those who are serving our country. My name is Michael Tu. I'm a professor and the director of the Center for Cybersecurity at Purdue University Northwest. I'm the PI and the director for this CWCT training program. Myself is a strong believer of certifications. I have taken many certifications and the certification trainings. I've earned, quite many certifications like CISSP, CEH, CHFI, many mobile forensic certifications, and the Windows forensic certifications. Okay, so today I will just take a few minutes. I think we are kind of like behind the schedule, right? So I will take a few minutes to talk about the PASS, okay? The digital forensic PASS. So this is our website talking about the learning PASS at Purdue University Northwest. So it's CWCT.US, right? So you go to the learning PASS, and then you will select this digital forensics track. Okay, so for this track we have 6 courses. We have 3 required courses. I think every track has 3. They share the 3 required courses: the A+ and the CISC CyberOps and the Security Plus. So the A+ will focus more on the computer systems, okay, the basic, and also a little bit about the network. So you will spend a few, I think maybe 1 or 2 weeks, right, on network, basics, and a little bit on the, packet tracer, probably. Okay. And the CyberOps mainly focus on the networks and the network security. And the security parts focus a lot of the, all aspects of the security concepts like principles, risk management, continuity, disaster recovery, and many other, like the penetration testing process, security programs, and of course, right, vulnerability and attacking, right? So all those things, okay? And some emerging areas like IoT and cloud computing security. Okay, so we have 3 track-specific course. So I don't know if you guys can read my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay, because I can see the pop-up message said, okay, now you can see my screen. Okay, so so we have the Linux class. So because the forensic, as one of the instructor talking about, the Linux is the basic, right? So we would like everybody to know a little bit about the Linux, okay? And we have the CWCT. So CWCT course will cover the basic of the forensics. For example, the law and regulations and the computer forensic investigation procedures, and like basic of the forensic concept, like the Windows systems, registry, file system analysis, forensic analysis, and the basic tools like autopsy. Autopsy is just a free tool, right? And the registry, they are using RegView and some other free tools. Okay, so it will introduce lots of free tools. And after this class, you probably need to take a certification preparation. So then, there are lots of practical questions, and then you can get the, try to apply for CWCT certification voucher and take the exam to get the CWCT. And we have the other computer forensic course, which is focused on Windows forensics. So this course is like purely hands-on. Okay, it's lots of hands-on. You have to spend a lot of time to practice the tools. I don't know if you know, it's FDK. Okay, FDK. So it's a commercial tool, and it's mainly for the Windows part. So after this course, you probably can be, try to take the access data as a forensic certification. But this time they only focus on their like tools instead of the knowledge. So that sometimes we may not suggest you to take that certification because it's purely for the tools. Okay. But anyway, besides those, certification, you have the CISC CyberOps certification, security plus certification, right? Okay. And we will also have, we're going to offer an additional course. It's called a mobile forensic course. So mobile forensic course is like elective course. We will use SecDrive, and we may use also talking about the SQLite database and using those SQLite Studio to analyze those databases to retrieve more information. So that's it's like optional course, and we are going to offer probably the end of this year. So we'll see. Okay, the interest. Hopefully we can have like at least 30 trainees who are taking those. Okay, so I think after this we have this certification match to each course, right? So you take the course, get loads of basic knowledge and skills tools, and then take certification preparation materials, and then you can take the certification. Okay, so as you can see, we mapped to quite a few certifications, right? Okay. Okay, I think that's everything I would like to talk about. The next would be Farina, right? Dr. Saki.
Yep. Sure. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Farina will talk about the AI track next.
Mm-hmm. All right. Good evening, everyone. So thank you, Michael, for doing an overview. So these are some of the 3 tracks that we offer at CWCT. I am going to talk about the cybersecurity artificial intelligence track that covers the main specialized courses in the areas of artificial intelligence, IoT, and hardware security. And the prerequisite for these 2 courses is Python. So these are additional courses which are covered. So if I go over what do we do in the track of artificial intelligence, I am going to use this flow where it lists down the 6 courses. The three courses, like Michael mentioned, are the core courses, which are common across all the three tracks. A+, Security+, and CyberOps. Students are required to take these three courses. Now, how do you take these courses? You can mix and match. For example, you can take one of the core courses and one of the specialized courses in one session, or you can take one course per session. So you would need 6 sessions in case if you decide to take one course per session. So this session, we are offering Python Essentials. If you are in the AI track and you can manage 2 courses, I highly recommend that you take it, because it gives you a leg up in terms of being able to select what the other courses you want to pick in the next session, because Python Essentials is a prerequisite for the AI class as well as for the IoT and Hardware Security class. And you can, so these 3 courses you will do independent, depending on how you would like to schedule the core courses. Now you can look into the schedule. So we are into session 5, which is starting in 2 weeks, June 6th to July 31st. And these are the remaining sessions. So as you can see, the sessions that are left are pretty much 6. So if you decide one course per session, you have to make sure you complete that course. Or if you want to schedule 2 courses, you can definitely talk to your program manager and decide if you can work around the schedule. We do, want to mention that this is a time-consuming class, because it goes very fast. It's about 8 weeks in which you have to learn, prepare for the exam, take the exam. So if you can manage it with your other activities, then only in that case you should be enrolled in 2 courses. All right. So a little bit about the courses. Since Michael has gone through the core list of expectations for the core courses, like you would learn packet tracer and some other skills. In terms of the AI specialized courses, the first one you would take is the Python Essentials. So in Python Essentials, you will learn how to code in Python. You would be using GUI interface. You can work on the command interface. There are several options of programming. For example, you can do the idle interface, or you can use Python notebooks. So you would be learning how to program in Python, what are the available platforms, and learn the basics of how you would be using Python in the courses of AI and IoT and hardware security. So AI is a very interesting course. Again, this is like the AI is the future. A lot of directions, job openings are in the field of machine learning. So this course, CWCT 245, we introduced to what is an AI, artificial intelligence, what is machine learning, the concepts of big data, the concept of deep learning, supervised learning, unsupervised learning. All these are covered with hands-on labs. So this is a very interesting course to take to get good in-depth knowledge and surface what are the directions of research, as well as the job opportunities that are available in the area of machine learning. There's a very interesting topic of integration of machine learning with the blockchain through Chain that has been included in this module. So if you are interested in machine learning, then this is the course to take. All right. And if you want to take this course, you have to take Python first. So please make sure you talk to the program manager and the advisor to make sure you plan accordingly how you're enrolled for the courses. Lastly, the third course, the third specialized course out of the 6 courses is IoT and hardware security. So this is a very interesting course, one of its kind, that is being offered in certifications. This is an all hands-on course where the students are provided remote access to hardware platforms, including FPGAs, as well as some other advanced state-of-art platforms to attack the hardware devices to extract secret keys. And to study what are the existing countermeasures and what are the research directions. So this was the first, session 4 was the first time we offered that course, and it was well appreciated in terms of the concepts that were covered and how vulnerable the hardware is as well as the software. So this is a very interesting course. that requires you some basic knowledge of C and Python, and some concepts of embedded systems as well. And if they are new for you, some of the basics are also reviewed in the course as itself. So if you're enthusiastic about learning more of hardware, what are the hardware vulnerabilities, then this is the course to go for. All right. So this is a basic overview of the AI track. Amber, I'm good to go.
Thank you so much, Farina.
Jen.
And then our last track that we'll be talking about is the system admin track, and Professor Michael Cloud is going to tell us about that one. Sorry, Matthew.
It's all right. Like I said before, I've been called worse. In the cloud system admin track, I'm going to keep this quick. So if you have questions, please send them to me in the chat. But the cybersecurity system administration track on cloud system administration in particular is the same as the forensics for the first 4 courses with A+, Security Plus, Cyber Ops, and Linux system administration on Red Hat Linux. The 2 courses that are different at the end are ethical hacking for certified ethical hacker and cloud system administration. So talking about those a little bit, for the cloud system admin, there's no cert prep for this yet, but there may be. We're using Red Hat OpenStack in that. So I've got a page up here on Red Hat OpenStack and how that works a little bit. So we can create these virtualized resources out there. There's VMware is another way that they do that. We actually use VMware in a NetLab system. I'm probably logged out by this point. But yeah, I've already dropped my lab reservation, but you can actually create virtual machines in here to pop them up. And I'm just to the sake of time, I'm not going to do this again here for NetLab, but this is a course. I'm sorry, this is used in many courses, including A+, Security Plus, Cyber Ops. We used to use it in Red Hat, but now Red Hat has its own system admin cloud platform that we're using. Let me see if I can get over to that window. There we go. So you'll come in here and actually start your own system. So you'll have all of these systems that you'll use in Red Hat Linux. And there's another set of labs which are more robust for the OpenStack version. So that's all through here. Let me go back to this window. Like Dr. Saqib mentioned earlier, you have an opportunity to take just 1 class per term. And we found that those that are taking 1 class per term versus 2 classes per term, that actually doubled the likelihood of you completing and passing the courses. Most people who complete the course pass. Very few who actually complete it fail because we have this very robust and supportive system to help you make sure you can get there as long as you put the effort to make that happen. They're not necessarily difficult courses, but they are time consuming. Very lab specific, and we do a lot of group lab work. So that's it in a nutshell for cloud system admin. There are a lot of jobs out there, including with Red Hat. Let me go back over to this other one real quick. There's even the talent network. So this was started up here just a couple of weeks ago by Red Hat to match you with employers based upon the courses that you've completed. So there's only a few employers listed so far because they just opened this up. Similarly, Cisco has that. And including the Cisco using that Linux and Hatch. I was mentioning that in the chat before. You can look under the training schedule and go all the way to the bottom. Just open these up and you can look at these different tracks. So right here is that Linux and Hatched. That'll take you to Cisco NetAcad. Again, if you have questions, go to CWCT support at ivytech.edu. We can help you with these courses, getting enrolled in them. Your program manager can help you with getting into them as well. Feel free to reach out to me. But this stuff here, as you complete the course through Cisco NetAcad, you can also go through their talent bridge engine for employment. There is a tremendous amount of employment. Red Hat is looking for hundreds of people each year. They're now a part of IBM. We went with them instead of going with Linux Plus as the focus because people are asking for Red Hat system admin to get employed. Linux Plus is also useful, but not to the same degree. You can do the Linux Plus certification if you wish in the cert prep, if you rather do that. Red Hat system admin is practical based. Linux Plus is multiple question based. Okay, about people failing a certain objective. So the only thing I really wanted to say about that is that in order to take the certification test prep, which you have to pass a certification test prep with 90% or better, and you can keep retaking it till you get there. Once you pass 90% or better, then we'll provide the voucher to you for up to 3 different certifications. In order to get into that, though, you need to at least pass the linked class. And so to take a look at that, you can look at the course descriptions. That's one way you can kind of take a look at it, but you can also look at the tracks. Within the track, we have certification prep that are listed with them. Like I said, there's a new certification coming out here. And that's kind of one of the things. These certifications are not held by us as academic institutions. Each of these companies have their own way of releasing them. But over time, with that open communication over the past 7 years in particular, they have moved to a model that is closer to a regular academic year, so we can plan for that more easily. Does that answer your question? Yes, for CEH, you need 90% in the class. That one's a little bit different because it is a EC Council-based course. Yes. And Prep Pass for CompTIA A+, that's required for everyone in that. And so if you're looking at the training schedule, come down here. There's not really prep needed. That's what the IT assessment you did made sure that you're ready to enter that course. So all of you that are in here have already passed that, so you're good to go. But if you want to start somewhere, start with this packet tracer, introduction to packet tracer. That's something you'll start very early on in the course, but you can get started now if you wish. If you want other information, general cybersecurity information, there's a couple 15-hour and 30-hour courses you can take. Getting connected, this is something for cyber ops. If you're going into cyber ops, it can help you with that. The IoT AI learning path, if you're going down that path, you can take some introduction to IoT to get an idea about it. There's AWS Cloud Fundamentals. That's one where I have to manually add you. So I check that about once a week to add you into the Cloud Fundamentals for AWS. We use that not just within Cloud System Admin, but also in the AI course. We're using AWS and Oracle Cloud Services. And then for the forensics track, we have some forensic labs that we can add you into. If you don't think you have enough, we have a lot of labs in this area to have a lot of fun with. So lots and lots of materials. Talk with your program manager. Again, you can contact CWCT support at ivytech.edu as well. And I think I am done. If you got other questions, let me know, and I will turn it over to Steve. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Professor Cloud. I appreciate that. Thank you to all of our principal investigators for kind of going through our different tracks. I think it's helpful for everybody to kind of get an idea of what's going on. And like Matthew said, please reach out to us if you got questions. So I want to be cognizant of time. So I'm really excited to introduce our guest speaker kind of to wrap up this evening. Professor Cloud introduced me to him before. Michael Young is the Senior Vice President for Global Information Security for Bank of America, spent 23 years in the Marines in cyberspace as an officer, and has his Doctor of Computer Science from Colorado Tech. And really excited for him to be here. He's got a slide prepared just to talk through. Michael, thank you so much for your time tonight, sir. And again, please, everybody, Michael Young, Bank of America. Thank you.
Thank you. As a comms check, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. Got you loud and clear.
Great. And it's great to see my other colleagues I've spoken to in the past. I appreciate you all bringing me to this forum. I've got 15 minutes on the schedule. My goal will be to do 7 to 10 minutes on not only my background, but about the industry in general, and then leave time available for questions. And I'm not a Zoom expert. So if I miss something in the chat, Steve, will you let me know? This is a slightly new forum for me.
Yes, sir. Easy enough.
Great. So Michael Young, I do have my doctorate in computer science and cybersecurity particularly. And I currently work at Bank of America in Global Information Security. At our Global Information Security Department, which is about 3,000 people-ish, I'm part of the Cybersecurity Operations Organization. And that's the traditional part of cybersecurity that you all are often studying in. So people who are doing things like forensics, AI and cybersecurity and others. So it's the people who do the work. And then we have other departments that do liaison with business, governance, risk compliance, and other things. I lived in the Charlotte region. I think some of you, I know some of you are here in Charlotte. And I actually live north of town in Davidson, North Carolina. You all talked about certifications. I actually don't have many. So one of the questions I get asked most often is, what's the best way to prepare myself? And my answer generally is that the answer they give probably represents their bias or their path more than the best, because there is no best. So in my case, I don't have very many certifications. I got all my initial training in the military as a cyberspace officer, but obviously over 20 years, it evolved quite a bit. And then during that time, I got several formal degrees, but that's certainly not the only path. I have lots of colleagues at all levels who have certifications and have done very well with their area and have no degrees. I do have one certificate I got before most of you were born, probably, Microsoft Certified Professional. One other area I spend a lot of time in is innovation. So I have a lot of patents in cybersecurity and technology in general, but I put a few up here that are particularly interesting, including cybersecurity architectural network based on artificial intelligence. And I'm proud to say that's actually in partnership with a UNCC graduate who moved on to be part of our red team at Bank of America. I have a family. My kids are 14 and 16, and you can see behind me, I have some fish. Fish became my pandemic hobby. I normally work in Uptown Charlotte, but had to make this office on the fly like a lot of people. And a couple of fun facts. I am a private pilot, so I do fly when I can. And as part of my retirement from the Marine Corps Reserves, as a present to myself, I bought an old Jeep CJ, and I'm currently restoring that as a part-time fun thing to do on the weekends. So onto the industry. I want to give a little background, a little state of the industry. These may be factoids that you've seen before. I pulled them from a few different reports, but I think just want to give sort of an overview. So first of all, cybersecurity and the internet in general continues to be an emerging field. It is likely that computers will still be part of our lives in 100 years. And so this is very much in the beginning days. So no one has solved all the problems, and they're not going to anytime soon. So that's an exciting possibility for people who are joining the cybersecurity workforce. Things are evolving rapidly, and as everyone knows, COVID and the remote work environment has accelerated emerging trends already in lots of different ways, accelerated technology and potentially some risks. And the need for security across the internet and computing devices will continue to deepen as we have a dependency as a society, as a nation, as an economy on those things to do our everyday, living and tasks. So that brings us to the industry. So I think most of you, if not all of you, are looking to have joined or looking to join the cybersecurity workforce. Estimates this year are that there are 400,000 current job openings in cybersecurity as we speak. At my company, we have hundreds, and that is a constant challenge. And it's estimated we'll need 3.5 million jobs to be filled across the workforce by 2025. As previously mentioned, lots of things are shifting it to make that challenge even worse. COVID, people moving, people leaving the workforce, lots of complicating factors. So the workforce job gap, which could be a benefit to everyone on this call, is a big concern for cybersecurity executives. This kind of forum and other parts of academia has responded with a lot of options, everything from certifications to formal degrees to on-the-job training. And there's a lot of different people working to fill that gap. And then technology is also moving rapidly to address that gap. It is more than likely that we'll never fill those jobs, and that there will be some sectors of cybersecurity that move to automation, artificial intelligence, and other emerging technologies to solve security problems versus purely human analysts, though you will always need human analysts involved in some form or fashion. In addition, software development, DevOps will continue to mature, which will then hopefully lessen the attack surface. Culturally, when we build software now, there's speed to market is the driving factor. And hopefully over time, we can change that where secure by design is from the start. And then cloud will continue to be a foundation for computing. And arguably, and I'm sure there's colleagues on this call who would argue with me, but arguably moving resources and companies to the clouds has a higher level of quality in many cases for cybersecurity. And so that should help lessen the gaps. So opportunities for you. So obviously you're part of this program to have additional opportunities no matter what you've done before in your life. And your technical skills and formal education, whether it's academic or certification, is greatly desired. particularly for areas such as cloud, artificial intelligence, and DevOps. And if you're hearing a noise, I have an automatic blinds that I built with a Raspberry Pi that go up and down at a certain time. And if you heard that, if not, my blinds just went up and down automatically with computing power. Wrapping up so I can open for questions. There's not only a tremendous job gap, but the shift to remote work creates all sorts of benefits for the workforce. You can work where you want, salaries are competitive, benefits are competitive, and there's a lot of flexibility from everything from working in other countries to living in a van, a lot of things that weren't possible years ago. If you're in the Charlotte region, I know some of you may not be, but this is true in almost every major city. Cybersecurity internships, work programs are plentiful, they pay, and they're a great way to onboard to a company after a time at this type of program. Cybersecurity continues to move up the org chart. What I mean by that is CEOs, corporate boards are directly interfacing and attributing cybersecurity as a key metric for business. And now cybersecurity exists across every industry. So if you want to work in finance, you can work in cyber. If you want to work in legal, you want to work in health, any of those things are a possibility now. So you can go to any industry where that may not have been true before. And last, I'll direct you to some graphs I threw in there just for some graphics. In a 2022 survey by ISACA, do you have open cybersecurity positions in your firm? So this is multiple firms across the world. And 63% said yes, and 47 of them said they were at least somewhat understaffed, with significantly understaffed 15%. So that just goes to show you that there is opportunity, and everyone is widening the aperture of who they're accepting into the cybersecurity market, which is a great thing for a course like this. And we certainly appreciate not only you all as students, but the facilitators to help address that gap for the future. So with that, a quick brief and one-page slide. I'm happy to take any questions about me, my career, or my perspective on the cybersecurity industry. And I certainly am happy to have any of the other colleagues or professors jump in if they have another angle to take.
Well, thanks so much, Michael. I know in the chat so far, we've the very first thing I believe is you've been called the most interesting man. Possibly an homage to the Dos Equis commercial. Love it. And Professor Warden also said it's interesting how moving to the cloud can actually increase security, and was wondering if you could elaborate on that a little further.
Excellent. Well, Jay, thank you for that compliment. I think if I could sum up my career, it would be say yes to things, no matter how strange they are. So you get a lot of strange opportunities, and none of it was by design. It's not on the slide here, but I dropped out of college to join the Marines, which isn't a particularly smart idea, but it did give me a really unique angle and perspective to join the workforce. And then I went on to get my degrees later. So lots of different ways to get there. And the next one on cloud. So I said arguably several times, because if you can afford to hire the people, buy the systems, staff everything, et cetera, you can do very well with cybersecurity in your organization. However, that's a really, really big bar to entry for a lot of companies. So generally speaking, when people ask me, and they ask a lot, if you have a medium to small business, you probably honestly cannot afford to allocate an amount of your revenue or your income as a company to adequately staff cybersecurity. Therefore, moving to a reputable cloud vendor is probably a better way to go. In addition, when you work in a regulated environment, the major cloud providers often already have passed regulatory barriers. So instead of you having to prove that your cybersecurity environment or your people or your program is up to snuff, sometimes you can leverage those environments. So you could give a whole semester of class on that, but that's a quick take on cloud.
Michael, thank you so much. I've got one other question. So as you probably know, I know our program's kind of split up between forensics, systems admin, and then AI. So one of the questions was, when you're looking at cybersecurity, which is already kind of a vast field in many ways, but could you kind of, I know you're not obviously, directly in this program, but this is coming from the perspective of an NOC engineer, these different pathways, forensics, AI, could you kind of talk a little bit, if you can, about where that could lead to, kind of beyond just your entry-level cybersecurity analyst role?
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for the question on career paths. Before that, Jonathan Torres, you're right. The cloud does equal someone else's computer. I used to have a t-shirt that said that, but I've changed my mindset a little bit, being cloud equals someone else's computer that can afford to secure it better than you can. So that's a slight deviation on that true but funny statement. So career paths. The good news right off the bat is there are no bad or wrong career paths to take in cybersecurity. And generally speaking, there's not one that is massively more profitable than any others. You know, the whole industry is paying well, so it's not really a price differentiator in many cases. When I first joined the industry, you know, we generally broke things down into people who used to be programmers or network admins. There wasn't ever security teams, and so since then we've obviously formalized into a lot of different channels. And one great place to look, if you're wondering what they all are, is NIST, which has the NICE framework, where it talks about all the different jobs that are out there. So what I would recommend to anyone who's entering the industry at a very early stage, which are most of you, is don't worry about specializing now. Take things that interest you, that you are passionate about, that frankly are fun, and follow those channels. And then a few years down the road, once you've generalized a lot, take the one that is interesting, has opportunities, and follow that one. There are no bad paths, and I'd much rather you take a path that you will enjoy and be passionate about and be happy in many years, than be in one because someone says it's a better job or it pays more, and that is generally a better piece of advice.
And I hate to interrupt you, Steve, but Michael, one of the things, if nothing else with LinkedIn, it connected us, which is great. I kept seeing your name come up in all these different groups that I was in around cybersecurity and AI and the cloud and how they tie together. And there's a lot of fear from people about using AI. However, we're at the point where it's actually fairly easy to use AI. You don't have to be a mathematics expert. Maybe you could speak about that. I think that's where we've had a lot of questions over the past year.
Yeah, I think AI is a lot like cloud, where, you know, in cloud 10 years ago, a lot of people were saying, don't go there. And then this crashing wave came over where that really wasn't an option. I feel the same way about AI. It is going to be part of your life and your business and your job, period, at some point or another. I do think we should have robust debates about the ethics, when humans should be involved, how much autonomy it should have. But the reality is you're going to use it in cybersecurity. You're already using it, whether you know it or not. So I think those debates are going to be much more important of how to apply it appropriately. And the skills gap is not going away. If you have a job that takes one human now and you can have AI do 80% of that job, that's a good, smart business choice. And frankly, in many cases, a computer can do a particular task, can do a higher quality and effect of that, particularly if you're dealing with high volume data sets like event management or something where human analyst brain power can be tapped out. Steve, you see any other good ones? I'm letting you sort of
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's kind of along that line, but I like this question. You know, how do you see actual cyber vacancies being automated in the future? And do you see that trend greatly impacting someone starting in the field today? That's a cool question.
Well, I don't think it's going to impact any of you because there's so many jobs you're going to have one. If I could automate half of them magically tomorrow, there'd still be plenty of jobs to go around. So I don't think it's going to have an impact in terms of your job prospects. However, there are lots of good examples of things that take a lot of human power now. I mentioned event management, which is massive data sets. Another one that's pivoting to another area of cybersecurity is risk. So right now, quantifying risk in cybersecurity takes a lot of analyst time, a lot of gathering of data, processing data to spit out a quantifiable, risk, metric or score. So I think that's another area where once you have good data sets, which is always true with machine learning, you can automate those processes and run hundreds of models against a risk scenario, where right now that would take a whole team of analysts to do. So I think that's the types of area we're going to see AI pick up the slack in terms of the skills gap.
What's the timeline you see on that, Mike?
Well, I spoke to a professor who's now retired who was saying in the 70s that it was going to be 10 years. So I hesitate to do so.
Okay.
But I think all of us are seeing indicators that it is coming over the crest. So if I had to put my best guess on it, I think we're going to see digitization of business process be a theme for the next decade, and true AI is probably the decade after that.
Thank you.
Awesome. And thanks for that question, Professor Sanford. Michael, I think just maybe to wrap up, Matthew put in here, maybe if you're willing to talk about your recent patent on using AI to secure networks as an example, and then maybe we can kind of wrap up from there. And yeah.
Sure. And before I answer the last question, if any of you'd like to chat further, reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to make the relationship. That's where I met Dr. Cloud and others. And so always happy to extend that. And as my time allows, happy to give additional insight if needed. That's a great question. So my most recent patent on network security, the theory behind it was the huge networks used to be what I call the M&M model, which is a hard outer shell and the inside is very soft, right? So once you get in, you sort of can go wherever you want. So there's a move towards zero trust network or segmented networks, which is very good. But the next level up from that is if a threat is detected in a network, that artificial intelligence would be able to use software-based routing and network to essentially dump it into a sandbox, do real-time analysis of the threat. And then in that case, if it's a false positive, let it back on the network and the end user of the service would never know it was ever contained. Or if it was truly malicious, it'd be able to lock it down, take forensic snapshots, and even kill it if it needed to. So that probably is a 20-year dream. But what we tried to do is whiteboard, if you could use AI effectively on a network, how could it do so? And so that was the theory behind that one, and what led to some intellectual property creation in that area.
Well, Michael, thank you so much. And I really appreciate you not just taking the time to talk to us tonight, but also going over a little bit than you probably expected, as well as all the students that are in here. I know we're 12 minutes over. I'd just like to say again, thank you so much, Michael. Michael will be here and on our June 2nd career fair next Thursday. And we'll have a 30-minute breakout session in our Zoom job fair to be able to talk a little bit more about working for Bank of America and what that could look like in cyber, and probably a little bit more of a small group setting. So you may be able to get some more questions asked then. Again, thank you so much for being with us tonight. Michael, I'm going to close this out right now. Thank you so much to the CWCT team. Thank you to the students and the participants who are here. We, again, really value your participation in this program, and we want to be good stewards to you as students. Reach out to us if you need us. You have our emails. Look out for the newsletter I put out. Please go on our LinkedIn page, join the group if you have not. I'll throw that link in here. And again, we look forward to having you starting in class next week. And again, enjoy the rest of your week. And please come to our career fair next Thursday. Thank you so much and have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.